The turning point came one snowy evening when Daniel found himself outside a small library seeking warmth. A kind stranger, an elderly woman named Margaret, noticed the young man shivering and offered him a cup of coffee from her thermos. They struck up a conversation, a simple act that reminded Daniel of something he hadn't felt in years: hope. Margaret listened as he briefly shared his story, and rather than pity him, she posed a single question. What do you want to do next? That question lingered in his mind like an ember, slowly reigniting his sense of purpose. The next morning, Daniel resolved to stop replaying the failures of his past and, instead, take one step toward a better future, even if it was just a small one. He walked back to the library where he'd met Margaret and applied for a free library card. With access to books and computers, he began spending his days learning about architecture again, refreshing the skills he'd abandoned long ago. It was difficult. He had no money, no safe place to sleep, and no one to lean on. But Daniel had something that couldn't be stolen: determination. Nights on that park bench were still brutal, but he found creative solutions, selling sketches of buildings to passers-by in exchange for meals or a few coins. Some days he made enough to stay in a shelter. Others he went hungry, yet his focus never wavered. Weeks turned to months, and soon Daniel's sketches began catching people's attention. A stranger noticed him drawing in the park one afternoon and offered to share his work on social media. The post went viral overnight. From homeless to designer, a story of resilience. Orders for freelance design projects began to trickle in, and for the first time in years, Daniel could afford to buy warm clothing and rent a small studio apartment. His life was beginning to transform, but he knew his journey wasn't just about personal success. It was about giving back. The moment everything truly shifted came when Daniel was invited to a community event to share his story. Standing before an audience of over 200 people, he opened his speech with an honest confession. I once believed I had nothing to give, but now I see that our struggles can be the greatest gifts we share with the world. The crowd erupted in applause, and at that moment, Daniel realized he could use his past not as a source of shame, but as a beacon to inspire others. Over the next few years, he launched a non-profit organization that turned vacant urban spaces into shelters and resource centers for the homeless. Using design principles he'd learned and perfected in that library, Daniel created environments that not only protected the vulnerable but restored their dignity. His work caught the attention of leaders in architecture and philanthropy worldwide, earning him awards and, more importantly, a platform to amplify his mission. Today, Daniel's shelters can be found in over 20 cities, housing thousands of individuals and families each year. And it all started because one stranger cared enough to ask, "What do you want to do next?" Daniel's story leaves us with a profound truth. Our greatest challenges are not walls that stop us. They are scaffolding that can elevate us to greater heights. He reminds us that no matter how far we fall, a single step forward can change everything. So, what will your next step be? Change starts with action. Share this story to remind someone else that their struggles can lead to greatness. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories that will move you to take action today.